Dude, yeah, he's gonna nail his posts on the door of the church, and it's all about how women ain't shit and they deserve less. Okay? My man said we're gonna invent a new type of Catholicism. There's gonna be a schism in the church, but this time it's like we gave women too much.
Ardoni O'Sullivan recently met with one podcaster and content creator who considers Catholic. You might be surprised to what he is preaching online. Here's Doni's report.
We're rolling, yeah. This is where you go live.
He liked women's lib. John Paul II said some really evil things. Because women should develop economic skills. Why? I mean, why? The ironic thing is some women do, like you actually kind of have.
This is Timothy J. Gordon.
Do you get a lot of hate?
Some. A lot's really happened in the last 3 years that has helped to normalize and pave the way.
As you might be able to tell from his home decor, Timothy is a Christian. In fact, he's part of a conservative Catholic movement known as traditionalism.
Basically, society is kind of the matrix. If you look at it from outside the matrix, everything is wired to make women think that they can be independent. And women are...
Oh my God. What a strange way to view the world. That's crazy. He just hates women. Like, that's it.
Aren't independent of men. And this Bible teaches us this. St. Paul says it in 3 places. Women are by their nature dependent on men, and they're happy that way. And they get miserable when they're forced to be the main character acting like a man out in the world.
Bro, look at these tiny ass bananas.
Timothy is part of...
I've never seen a banana like this. I don't know what the I want to see what it tastes like. What's up with the bananas get like shrinkflation in Europe? Do the Europores not know what a real banana looks like? Is this a different type of banana? Looks average to me. Okay, chatter. You don't have to reveal that. That's average. Big, actually. This is the tiniest banana I've ever seen. I didn't even know they made him this tiny. Tastes normal. This is so tiny. Am I crazy?
Of Manosphere, a group of online influencers that tell young men they need to fight against feminism.
There's some competing iterations of how to restore masculinity. You've probably heard of, Andrew Tate, and those guys offer a perfectly valid critique of feminism.
The woman must learn that her man is an iron mountain and the easiest path is to obey.
But Timothy says people like Tate are not helping.
They're bringing solutions to these young men that aren't true. And they're saying, sleep with a bunch of women, contraception and birth control. I mean, there's basically feminism for men.
March has turned out to be International Women's...
Timothy has 8 kids and preaches an interpretation of the Bible that is rooted in patriarchy. He hosts a podcast which his wife Stephanie sometimes appears on.
Now, my wife doesn't have to be a follower of any of all men, but every woman is literally called in 8 places in the New Testament to follow her husband under pain of sin. And that's the way it's good. That's the way she should.
Dude, like doing Bible studies just to find a new way to shit on women is so crazy. Like, he couldn't just be like a regular misogynist. And it's not enough that, like, most religious people of every different background will have a healthy dose of misogyny baked into their collective consciousness. This guy had to specifically be religious for misogyny. Like, in the same way that slavers would use the Bible to justify slavery. That's crazy to me.
Show love for God.
Mike Lewis is the founding managing editor of the blog Where Peter Is, a site he says was set up in part to respond to American traditionalist Catholics' attacks on Pope Francis. Like Tim Gordon's argument is it's there in black and white in the Bible. Women are there to serve men, men are dominant. There is a patriarchy.
Well, I would classify that as a fundamentalist point of view. The Catholic Church has always been very clear that it is the Pope and the bishops in communion with him that authentically interpret Scripture. And this is wholeheartedly rejected by figures who are into this Catholic version of the manosphere.
Pope Francis was deeply unpopular with manosphere Catholics like Timothy.
The worst pope in the history of 266 Roman Catholic popes.
And among broader traditionalist Catholics like Steve Bannon.
And we stand in absolute defiance of this Pope. The Vatican deep state is the mother of all deep states. The movement of conservative Catholics, traditional Catholics, even people, young people going to the Orthodox side of Catholicism, is one of the great developments in the 21st century.
Mike is worried what the traditionalists and so-called manosphere Catholics could do to the church in America.
Tim Gordon, and I've seen others, basically say that they're seeing an uptick in young men picking up the Catholic faith because of these very traditionalist, extreme views on women.
From what I've heard,
I'm not gonna lie, the Catholicism has fallen off because back in the day they would just kill these guys. Like, you can't do that. That's the whole deal. Look, I'm looking at it from the outside. I don't give a right? But like, you can't be Catholic and just be like, I don't with the Pope, like the Pope is wrong. What do you mean? No, that's not how that works. Okay, you're gonna get now. Like, have fun. What do you mean the Pope is wrong? That's God, dude. That's a reflection of God. He is giving you, he's giving voice to the God. So what do you mean? No. It don't work that way. All right, bring up the crosses. We're cooking these fools. What is this? Bro's been playing too much Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Actually, I literally downloaded Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 because I loved the second one so much. I went back to the OG. It definitely, I mean, it's still pretty good. It's just like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is one of the best games I've ever played. So it's hard to come close to it. It's like a jankier version of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
It is a trend. I've seen reports of conversions due to this. I think there are a lot of disenfranchised young males who are looking for something.
Yeah.
My concern is that in a lot of cases, it's due to an alt-right ideology that isn't in line with what the Catholic Church teaches.
As for Timothy and other traditionalist Catholics, they view this conclave as one of the most important in the Church's history.
What happens if the next Pope is like Francis?
It will be catastrophic for the Church because if there's another Francis prototype, then it'll probably mean schism in the Church.
Antonio Sullivan joins me now. So what are Timothy Gordon and others who believe what he believes looking for in a Pope?
Yeah, they clearly want a far more conservative Pope than what Francis...
Dude, yeah, he's gonna nail his posts on the door of the church. And it's all about how women ain't shit and they deserve less. Okay? My man said we're gonna invent a new type of Catholicism. There's gonna be a schism in the church, but this time it's like we gave women too much. The Nilk schism. 99 theses on misogyny. Yeah, more like 99 feces, dude. Dookie opinion having ass.
This goes back to the traditionalist movement within Catholicism has been around since the beginning of the church. A lot of this goes back to pre-Francis to the 1960s, to the Second Vatican Council, otherwise known as Vatican II, which brought in things like having the Mass in local languages, in English and in Spanish. Traditionalists, people like Timothy, people like Bannon as well, actually want to revert back to having a Latin Mass, a Latin-only Mass. So there's a lot of that.
Which has obviously been a big
It's been a big thing.
Issue.
And so you have this debate happening in terms of like how conservative or traditional the church should be. And then we see people like Timothy tapping into this new world.
Yeah, there's another thing that they want to go back to, which is blaming the Jews. They're like, the church is falling out of favor. We're not blaming the Jews enough. We got to get back to that. This is the Bolshevik Catholic Church.
This sort of manosphere. And really, you know, Timothy is a Catholic. He's well read on it and everything else like that. But what we're seeing is this strain within the manosphere of basically men who are looking for a reason to be dominant over women and finding this version, or as Mike Lewis would say, they're really a subversion of Catholicism that preaches that, yes, you know, the patriarchy is a good thing, and yes, you should be dominant over women.
That's fascinating. Tony Sullivan, thanks very much.